Welcome to the Wellness in Asheville podcast, where we shine a light on the people, practices, and places that make this city one of the most inspiring wellness communities in the country. I'm your host, Travis Richardson, founder of Be Well Asheville, your local news source for health, wellness, and community events. Today, we're diving into the transformative world of scent-based healing, where aromatherapy meets chakra alignment and aura cleansing. Our guest, Laura McCann, is the visionary founder and CEO of Auratherapy, a wellness brand rooted in breath, intention, and energy healing. After a high-powered career in fashion, retail, and tech in New York City, Laura turned to aromatherapy to heal her own chronic health challenges, sparking a profound personal transformation. Now based in Asheville and Miami, she blends ancient wisdom with modern innovation, creating all-natural fragrances and immersive experiences to help others balance their energy and reconnect with their inner selves. She's also the author of Auratherapy, a guide to adoring yourself, your chakras, and your aura. Now, personally, I got to experience Auratherapy firsthand. I had my aura read, and I actually got to find out what kind of dominant color I was, and I actually got some numbers to go along with my aura reading that showed me where I was weak. What I thought was cool was how I was able to get some essential oils to target those weaknesses. This whole idea of becoming more aware of how and what's going on with us is trending. So get this, I actually saw a survey showing that 80%, get this, 80% of millennials and Gen Z report prioritizing personal growth and self-discovery over material success. Wow, that is a trend in the positive direction. So now with these kinds of emerging technologies and tools like what Auratherapy is bringing to the table, because we actually have devices today that can give you real-time feedback on your chakras and energy systems. And that does bring ancient wisdom into modern science in some really interesting ways. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so we've got Laura McCann here with Auratherapy to talk about scent, chakras, auras, and building a wellness brand that's redefining the industry. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Hey, Travis. Nice to be here. How are you?
I'm wonderful, especially after yesterday's visit to the store here in Asheville. I had a great time getting my aura read and exploring the yummy essential oils that you have there. Thank you for that offering. It was awesome.
That's awesome. I don't know what your colors are. Who are you?
Yeah. Yes. Well, let me share that. I mean, the listeners can't see, but what I have here in front of me, I don't know if you can see this, is I've got your card. And so for the listeners, what you get when you go get a scan is a little business card, and it's got like my colors and my numbers. It's basically telling me who I am, which is interesting because I just before the call I was looking up where I'm a little bit low, and I'm a little bit low on like the heart chakra and a little low on the, I think it was the over the head chakra, the top chakra.
That one. I think it showed your sacral chakra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, orange and green, I'm low. Orange and green, I'm low. And I'm yellow centered. So that's
I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. What do you mean? You've done more than one of these before?
Yeah. You also have your 14-page report, which was emailed to you. So what was the other colors? Green, I'm assuming. Did you have some blue, or it was mostly just a yellow center?
I was 5s across the board, except for pretty much, except for those two.
Know what that is?
Low.
That's the startup. The startup is you're in podcast launch, business launch, and you're yellow, which is a super analytical, mentally focused person. And it's showing not enough self-care and a lot of putting pressure on yourself and asking a lot of yourself, and the voices that are saying like, is it enough? It's never enough. And so, yeah. So after this, your prescription is more fun and more time for you.
Yeah, I love that. You know, it's funny you say that because just the last expert that I was interacting with in the capacity of self-care was your neighbor over at Wakefoot Sanctuary. And I was I was over there, just like, oh my God, I need more of this in my life.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Well, you're intuitive. You have the big third eye. You already knew what to do. But yeah, a lot of times what we do with our energy is we move it to do the tasks at hand, but we have to also understand who we are. So actually for you, it probably feels really comfortable to be that way, but over time it'll burn you out and you'll also feel depleted. So you gotta as a
Yeah.
person who also has a very high spiritual piece, because you have those high balance other chakras, it won't work long term. So yeah, it's like, okay, now tune in and make some adjustments. Little tweaks are often all you need, like breathing. So hopefully you got some good product too, and you can start doing those little breath work sessions at your desk and clearing energy and all the good stuff.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for that. Yeah, I've got a little baggie. I think I was going to go through a little walkthrough of all the things I got at some point. It's been fun. I've made a couple Instagram reels already of my experience. And
Ooh,
I think, yeah,
thank
one's
you.
going to come out. I think I'm like excited about it, but we'll see how other people respond. But it's kind of fun
That's
making
great.
those. Let's get into you. I have there's like a bunch of topics because this kind of intersects a lot of things, actually. I mean, for me personally, I studied essential oils back. One of the earliest things when I was like 20 years old or
Mm.
something like that, I started getting into all kinds of alternative things. I mean, whether it was aliens or, I mean, just I'm not putting essential oil in the category of aliens, but
Love that.
I
Let's
was,
do that. I'll have
let's
to
just
bring
say,
Jim in. That's Jim's department.
well, let's just say I was very exploratory, and I was really looking into lots of things. And essential oils are something that I found as I looked more and more into them. They're really the lifeblood of plants, and they just are so powerful, uh,
Mhm.
and so healing. And I guess, and then you added, so you've got the essential oils within Jim, and I know I saw on a recent uh, Instagram live, I believe that you did with Jim, is that he brought in this whole aura scanning thing, this whole technology. So I'm curious about two things. One, if you could tell the listeners what is it exactly, and two, like what's that like having a life partner be a business partner? Because I would find that challenging with my life
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah. Yeah. That's on the list of things not to do for sure. Um, yeah. So, this business is a wellness business, but it's incarnated wellness. Then it wanted to be a beauty business. Then, interestingly enough, beauty swinging towards wellness, which is like it took 10 years for that to happen. But why wellness 10 years ago wasn't the story is because of distribution channels around where this kind of thing can live, which is essential oils or aromatherapy. So when you were introduced to it, it might have been in the decade where everybody you knew was a doTERRA or a Young Living affiliate, and everybody's trying to sell you single oils that you can put in a diffuser, drink, cure cancer, but multi-billion dollar industry that grew really fast because a lot of good marketing concepts that MLMs bring to it. But what was lost in that is the power of aromatherapy I mean, obviously it was a healing story, but like if it doesn't live within the paradigm of the culture, and the culture today is MLMs are out and what's in is influencers and beauty and TikTokers and all that stuff, then, you can't really build a business around it. Aromatherapy to me is a functional fragrance opportunity, and building a brand in now, let's call it wellness slash beauty, is really saying that if you are doing a wellness lifestyle and you have still been using perfume, which is made with alcohol and fragrance oils and is purely a petrochemical story, then you're not doing wellness. And I don't care if you want to
Totally.
say mood boosting or it's blah, 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 it's chemicals. So in a wellness story, and if you eat healthy, yeah, you can do things where you can play with, you know, chemical compounds for more protein, less calories. You can do Ozempic instead of eating well and losing weight on your own and learning how to intermittent fast. But in the world that I live in, which is like we're really, really trying to create healing and balance in the body energetically through frequency, and the frequencies that are out there may not be easily helping us be where we want to be. Aromatherapy and taking a breath is like a key, and it unlocks lots of value. And then how you package that out as a brand owner in a wellness business is like a whole other challenging thing, because you got to do that well if you want anybody to buy it. So the aromatherapy started, we always had a chakra line. And then Jim and I, as partners, were not working together. During COVID, we had an opportunity to rethink what he was going to do as his next chapter. And we had this experience where we had aura readings in Chinatown. It was a photo. And Jim is not, he's an engineer, kind of like you. And it wasn't really something he felt comfortable being an intuitive or taking a picture. So he found a version of that type of technology that had a chakra story. It was software based. It had a lot of data. And if he learned how to talk through it, and he was doing Reiki, so he understood like what and how this could be used, it was like something he felt he could do. So we didn't know. We tried. And as he built it, and of course, he's not a marketing person. So I kind of built that for the business and for him. We saw how it transformed our ability to tell the story. And so, yes, 1+1 in this case made 3. And then the beauty of it is at this point in our lives, why we do this isn't just purely to go make, a killing. It's really to give back in lots of ways. This demands way more from us than maybe we have at this point. But the mission is to really help people. And in the way that we're helping people, we can also hopefully karmically help ourselves. But it's way more upfront of giving than receiving. And so doing it together makes it better because we can then grow together, spend time together. And otherwise, it would be a very lonely pursuit. And I've done that before because I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years, and that pursuit's not always great for relationships.
Yeah. I have to ask, I want to go at least one more on the relationship side of things with how you guys work together. I'm curious because I maybe see a path down the road where my partner might be wanting to join what I'm doing. We'll see. But we feel that it would be really challenging to figure out how we separate the roles so that we don't like cross.
Yeah.
Or have you figured that out, or do you?
Yeah, that's the key. The key is I've had other partners who were best friends, and I've had a partner in another business where we were dating and became business partners. We weren't like a couple. We became a couple, and I brought him into a business. And so I've seen all the ways it can fail or it can succeed. In most cases, it's super challenging. I think it's important to be at a place in your life where if this is where you sustain yourselves as a couple, it's a lot of pressure because both people are now maybe not making money. So that's a big consideration. It's better to be in a position where it's more like, you're not putting everything at risk, right? That is an untenable, stressful thing for couples to manage, The second thing is finding your lanes and having very unique lanes. And I think in this case, I'm definitely more the entrepreneur founder, and Jim is more like the subject matter expert founder, and he stays in his lane. And then my job is to also hold the platform up for him. And you have to have little egos, can't have big egos. A lot of people think being the CEO requires a big ego. It requires confidence, expertise, and a desire to micromanage every little detail. And that's not a great person to be when you're doing that to your partner. So you really have to build it so that that person isn't under you in that way. So yeah, lots of things to unpack there. I don't know if I can tell you that it's the perfect solution. It may not be the forever. But in this phase, I couldn't do it alone. And, they always want you to have a co-founder. And I've often had co-founders where we weren't really on the same page in terms of really being together. That's very hard because, I always say, you need a prenup with your co-founder. Maybe in a relationship, you already figured that stuff out. But yeah, co-founding is a tough road, right? Yeah.
It is very interesting. I owned a gym business with a co-founder, and I was really thankful for him, and also Travis Lee back in Iowa. We started a gym together, and it was so nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. And luckily, we had like two sides of the coin that worked really well. But let's so you mentioned you don't want to make a killing, but here's the thing: I would love it if you made a killing, and here's why. I feel like there's so much energy out there, money that could be spent in other more beneficial ways. And so when a wellness brand makes a killing, what that does, it actually lifts all other wellness brands because it starts to shift attention to wellness. So I'm for shifting money away from McDonald's. Sorry, McDonald's. I am. and such. And getting to that point, I enjoyed doing some research on you, especially this morning. And I saw another, actually, I was looking at your LinkedIn and I was like, it was funny because, as a developer of a brand, you have such different, you need to be able to speak the language differently on different platforms and channels. And
Yes.
of course, your brand, I went into the store yesterday and there were some young girls in there. And if you look on your Instagram, it definitely is appealing to that younger generation. It's also appealing to an older generation, and you have different formats. And I'm being long-winded here, but I guess the article on LinkedIn was that there was a piece on Gen Z and how they're putting wellness first, and something, I don't know what this is, called the sister-in-law index. So tell me all about that, because I think that's super compelling.
Well, so if you follow me or anybody who looks at what I do, I love content and I love reading. So like I always start my morning reading all my trades and all my stuff and my social media feeds, which include LinkedIn. And if I see an article that I like, and I learned how to do this way back when LinkedIn started, and that's why I have such a big following on LinkedIn and why I've learned to translate, sort of like marketing into how I do my business piece. I take something that interests me and I turn it into content and I get to talk about it. It's like journaling. And I find it really interesting because as an entrepreneur, I don't really have time for conversations. So this is a way to express myself and it's nice as long as, you don't get the hate back. But in this particular article, I had never heard of the sister-in-law index, but it was a guy who uses his Gen X, Gen Z, young, family to ask about things that have to do with like all things direct to consumer. And they love answering the questions and they tell him. And so he then answered some of the questions and shared that. And there was a whole piece on wellness and how wellness for them isn't a trend and that they will spend their money and they will do the Pilates and the yoga and they will follow the brands and they will buy the stuff and they will be doing that as long as they feel like it fits into the desire that they have for like that identity. And they do it in beauty and they do it in other things too. It's kind of fascinating because like, I think if you are my age and I'm 60 plus, culturally I'm irrelevant. And what do I know about all this? And so how do you have these customers that encompass someone my age all the way to someone that age? And, I've been in product development and design and trend a lot of my career because I came out of fashion. So I'm always looking for like, what and how do you talk to those audiences? So in this case, we have some new product lines that are coming out that are more specifically designed for those audiences. But I found that also fascinating, which is why I shared it on LinkedIn, which is, where do you really get to understand who the customer is? And by the way, being in the store, and you saw that, I lived in Asheville for about 8 years now. I moved here from New York. Until I had a store as somebody who was a New Yorker who came to Asheville, I really didn't understand Asheville. I understood it as a tourist almost who moved here. And then when I spent 4 years at the Grove Arcade, 7 days a week for a long time, I understood who everybody else was who was coming here. And that really informed me on understanding like the demographics of Asheville, but also my business. And what I found is our product lands with young people and old people. That's a hard story to tell. And, I'm just learning how to tell it all different kinds of ways, the business way on LinkedIn and then on social media, the other ways.
Okay, so one of the things I also was curious about was this whole concept of neurocosmetics. This is also another term, and I didn't know if you knew I was going to throw all these things at you today, and I don't expect you to be like PhD level on this, but because that sounds like to me super sciencey. But what
Yeah.
the heck? What in the world is neurocosmetics?
I didn't know what I went and I took that and I was like, what is this? Why I was intrigued by it is because what I was understanding is that there's this whole trend of making cosmetics and body care that are mood altering. And I was like, ooh, I love everything related to mood. That's one of my keywords that triggers me. So like, what is it? And then what I understood is it was chemicals that trick your body into doing things with peptides, endorphins, all the things that you want, but it's a trick through chemistry, which again, maybe that's good, but are your cosmetics supposed to do that? Is your lotion supposed to do that? I get with CBD, like that's probably a functional ingredient thing, but to do it with chemicals is like, to me, like, is it, and they call it neuroscience. So like I was triggered by that. And I was like, I want to go down that rabbit hole and figure out like what that means to me. And, in my exploration of that, I go back to say, like, why do we want to mess around with what nature gave us? And in this case, nature gave us essential oils, and they're really great because they are plant based. And, there can be all different qualities, of course, of them, but they are, vegan, they're natural. Many times they can be organic, they can be wild crafted. You could have sustainable ones. It's like, can we do that? And then talk about all the ways we want to alter how we feel. I always still say that the person is the main ingredient. And so if what you're trying to do is hack yourself, but you're not going to do any work, I'm sorry, that's not really like a sustainable method. I get that we want shortcuts. So I'm always curious myself, but I don't think the shortcuts work. And so in this case, to me, that was like, I guess they call it greenwashing. That was neurowashing. Pseudoscience
Totally.
washing, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, God, congrats if they want to spend gazillion dollars marketing those concepts and pushing their products with that angle and they need differentiation. I would pause and say, like, if you need that much differentiation, then maybe your products don't really do anything or
Right.
should do better. I don't know.
Right. Well, what I see happening is most products are attempting to try to replicate nature, but they're really bad replicators of nature. They literally go out, they find the thing in nature and what it does, they study it, and they say, "Shoot, now how can we like make a chemical that does that same thing?" And then they can't do it, but they kind of try, and then it causes all kinds of downstream negative effects. So it's like, gosh, guys, can we just do the real thing?
Well, and you then loop that back with like the young people, right? Like I got a free lip gloss and something, and I use it, and it tastes like strawberries, and it's so disgusting. But like I didn't have anything else to put on, and I was like, but young people love all these things that taste like things and smell like things, and they have no idea what it is. Actually, today I'm going to the store, and it's so cute. I have a 10-year-old girl and her mom coming, who I met at the Love Shine Play Festival. And I would say, she's probably been brought up with more of a spirituality, Asheville, hippie kind of parenting. I think she has kind of the both sides, the engineering and the hippie. And she can communicate really clearly what she thinks of all these things. And I was like so impressed with her when I met her. She was talking to Matthew, one of our Auratherapist, for like over an hour. And I was like, could you come to the store? I would love to have you like do an aura reading. I'm so curious. Are you what I call an indigo child, who are these new kids that are coming in with these like super
Hmm.
spiritually advanced gifts? And I also wanted to be like, I want you to smell and see things and I want to hear what you think, because I do feel like we are doing a massive disservice to our teenagers and younger by not bringing them into these wellness stories as soon as they can. And we give them some of the elements, but not all of them. So, like, again, if your daughter's into Pilates and yoga and she's trying to eat well and she wants to be healthy, then there are other choices she may not be making across other choices around consuming. And we'd love for you to, maybe you don't know. So, like, how do we get you then? And it's not so much that, again, we're trying to market and monetize everything. It's really more like, I wish I had known, right? Like,
Hmm.
teach me. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I do think that this fake stuff is like, I don't want it in my food. Why do I want it in my nose? Right?
Right.
In. Yeah. That's
Well,
just
an example of that, my daughter just turned 22, but she's having now like some eczema stuff come up, and it's like, my gosh. And so one of the things we found is that there's this SLS. Okay. So SLS is a chemical, and it's often in toothpaste. Well, she was getting these like canker sores. So we removed the toothpaste thinking, because we read about it, we asked good old chat GPT. It says remove tooth. Okay. Remove. Okay. They go away. She tries it again. They come back. We could take it away. It goes away. Right. Okay. But now we find, so then we're like, so then she gets this breakout on her hands and arms, and we look at the product. Guess what? SLS is in there. Like, God dang it, man! Are you kidding me? Why? Why is it in there? What is this? Why?
what
What is
is
the
it?
purpose?
Yeah.
What is it? And why is it in there? Does it need to be in there? And it's so frustrating because how many people go for decades sometimes, maybe their whole life, suffering, all because some untested chemical is in their product. And even these, you probably know much better than I do about beauty products I was in massage therapy. I'm on a rant right now, so just bear with me here. I'm getting ready. I've got goosebumps. So I was in massage therapy. I was a licensed massage therapist around 10 years ago, I want to say. And in my massage therapy class, I learned that an average woman over the course of her lifetime absorbs, I believe it was something like this sounds ridiculous. And I hope I'm not wrong here. I hope the AI doesn't prove me wrong if somebody looks this up. That average woman absorbs around 5 pounds of chemicals in her lifetime. This is insane. Like, I can't believe that's, and I say that and I hear myself, no way. But that's what I remember reading and being taught in massage therapy. This is insane.
No, it's so many things to unpack there. The first thing is I came out of the fashion industry. I remember the first time I went to like my first sort of like call it whole wheat granola event, which was the Social Venture Network, which was a thing back then. These were all the hippies, the Ben and Jerry's people. This is before there were B Corps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember somebody turning to me and they were like, "What kind of apparel company are you? Like, are you polluting the planet?" Like, I was like, and I was like, I had no idea I was evil. I just thought I was making fashion products. And yeah, a lot of the fashion products that my company made were for the mass market, and many of them included polyester and lycra, and they weren't cotton and they weren't elevated fabrics. They were mass fabrics, and they sold gazillions of them. So I felt a little bit ostracized, and it didn't really change anything I did, but like it was in the back of my head, like if I ever did a business again, or if I did a different kind of business, how could I do that kind of business? It is very hard to do like a business where you're respecting the planet, especially in fashion. And I think a lot of people now know that. And there's plenty of stories about that. It's the last 10 years has been incredibly difficult to build fashion brands without having to deal with that, issue. But the beauty industry has just started to clean up. And it is a tough one because the people who are the biggest and have the most money and can lobby and who have the biggest spends and the biggest, they are all doing chemical-based stuff. Like there has been some improvement with clean beauty and this and that, but there's always these conversations like if you take all the stuff out that maybe you want, that's chemical, is it still active? Is this, listen, we're never going to win these conversations. So all I can say is for myself, I decided when I did this business, what I really loved about it is when we made the cleanest product ever, I never had to think about that. And the cleaner my products could be, the happier I am, because that's the conversation that I don't want to have. So we have degrees of super clean, like we have perfume oils that are just organic jojoba and essential oils, cleanest of the clean. We have water-based products. When you mix water and oil, you do need a preservative. Okay, we'll use the cleanest one we can find. It's like a citric acid. You need an emulsifier because you need the oils and the water to blend. Let's find one that's really clean. Okay, when you spray these things and you aerosolize them, it's going to go into your body differently than if you put it on your skin. We wanted to make a candle. We tried making a candle with essential oils. You cannot do that and have it throw. So we make a soy candle. It has a cotton wick. We try to do certain things to make it better, but it has fragrance oils. Many people love that. Lately, backlash on candles. Candles are toxic. Okay, yeah, they are pretty much. But, people love them. So do you stop making them? Is there a way to do a candle that's less toxic? Probably. Do we make that candle? Yes. But, don't want candles? Don't buy candles. But a lot of these other products that we have for our beauty, but we are not given choices about that. So you have to be an advocate for yourself. You have to look at the ingredients. You have to be educated and decide what you want and where the buck stops. And when you do start having health issues, that's usually when you start to pay attention, or when you have a baby or you're immunosuppressed, whatever. That's when you look for maybe the first time.
Yeah, that is unfortunately so many of our circumstances. We wait till we're sick or our loved one is sick. I think things are changing a little now because we are all so sick. And it's like it used to be able to be a little bit more hidden, but now, I mean, it's like affecting like businesses' bottom line. So I think it's starting to become pretty apparent, especially I think as of late, just this, I mean, I've got this wellness brand I'm building. Why is that? Why do I think it's time to build a wellness brand is because the iron is hot. It's time to strike.
Yeah.
Everybody is looking for something. I mean, we're all so deprived of good, healthy products and nutrition and experiences and social wellness. There's all these trends are coming to the forefront. One of the things I really liked in observing your product and as I researched what Auratherapy is doing, you've got the full vertical. I mean, you've got a warehouse in Weaverville. I think that's right. Like that's pretty cool. Not everybody does that. It's easy to just source some stuff from somewhere and then throw your brand on it, and nobody knows the difference. Nobody knows that's your that you didn't
Yeah.
actually
You didn't-
bottle
Yeah.
it yourself.
Yeah.
They think you did, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that question. So when I grew up in the fashion industry, I had a business and we did sourcing and what you call private labels. So we made products for other brands and we manufactured it for them under their label. So these are all the brands that used to be in the mall that everybody knows, like Express and Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body. And in the 80s and 90s, this was a big thing. They call it vertical retail. You're manufacturing your own products with your own label and you're selling them in your own stores. So over the years, direct to consumer and all the website stuff started happening. And many of them didn't make the product. Sometimes they did, but the distribution channel changed. And then as you started to build those kinds of businesses, what would happen is you needed to be so good at marketing that a lot of companies just said, we could be a really good marketing and sales company and we'll just
Yeah.
go buy the product. In beauty, it's really complicated because if you don't own the formulations and the recipes, you really don't have like intellectual property to protect, but it's very expensive to build your own IP. So, and then you have issues like, will the factory make it? Do they have a minimum? What if I need it tomorrow and I get the order? And like, how much do I have to have sitting here? Like, what will they make? Super complex things. So, when I got involved in this business early on, I wanted to be vertical. I wasn't sure how to, but then over time, I just basically decided we're going to make everything for margin reasons, for control reasons, but also I love making stuff. And I wanted to really have that control because I knew I could never grow and have control over my supply chain if I gave it away. So that is one of the differentiators I'd say between us. And as a small brand, it's not easy to do, but we do it and we do it really well because I have that expertise. But we do everything from the sourcing, the design, the product development, the bottling, the formulating, the filling to the fulfillment. And then we have 2 stores right now. We hope to have more. We sell it online on our website. We also sell it wholesale to fancy spas and other retailers. And so we have a very complex business for a little kind of fun mom and pop business because to grow it and be profitable, it felt like we needed to do that. The harder part, which is where we have to learn and we keep getting better at it, is the marketing part, right? Like, and learning how to do everything related to the tech and the digital marketing and the content. And that's been fascinating because even in the last 6 or 7 years, the whole landscape there has changed. So you see it now as a tech person, like marketing, even with AI, everything's changed in the last 5 months, right? So that's really where the learning is still for us as a business, but we really love that we have the rest of it.
So this is going to be a good segue because AI and technology is definitely changing things. I think there's going to be a lot of things that go away. I mean, everyone knows that jobs are at risk, and especially jobs that have to do with, even with marketing. A lot of these things are just going to get replaced. Here's one thing that probably will not get replaced anytime soon, and that is social connection. So we see a lot of, I think, brands pivoting to try to figure out how they can create staying power over the next 10, 20 years, because nobody's building a brand that's trying to die in 2. So one thing that you're doing is I've seen some events that you've done, that you've co-created. You've also got this Aura Sanctuary. I don't
Yeah.
know what that is. It sounds like a cool project, but it sounds like it's possible that's in alignment with trying to create experiences that are And even, I guess I would say even, I'd say your in-store experience of somebody bringing in some friends in and having the experience of getting their aura read and having somebody tell them about them and smell. So that's different from just marketing a product and then shipping it out.
And I really love this is experiential retail, right? So I think
Yes.
everybody figured this out during COVID when you couldn't go anywhere. Sure, you could sell products online. If you happen to be in our business, which is you're doing a scented product, that's not that easy. So, people do want to smell it. What we did when we made the experience lead is we thought of it like the prescription and then you buy, the doctor says, here's what's wrong with you. There's an assessment. In this case, we do an aura reading. It's very data driven. We help you understand what the data says, and then we can give you solutions for it. And that may include a product or you doing whatever you're going to do to balance your chakras, feel better, make affirmations, take a deep breath. Like we just want you to be your own healer. And we have some tools, buy them, do it our way, do it your way. It's all good. And so based on that sort of like experience, then they also feel like they know what to buy. Because the hardest thing for me when I was a consumer of aromatherapy and essential oils is what do I need? I don't know what I need. Okay, maybe I need lemon, maybe I need lavender, maybe I need this. Do I need something to feel calmer, something to feel more excited, something to feel more loving? Like, yeah, all those things are great. So what we try to do is not only distill all that knowledge into what the products are called and what they do, but to give you your customized prescription. And why I love that model is because you can go to a group yoga class and take a class and it's 90 minutes, or you can go and do an aura reading and it's a 15-minute one-on-one, completely customized service. And you walk away knowing you. And that's very hard to do at scale in a retail setting and then also tie in a product. And I love customization, except customization on the product side is really hard. So instead, what we do is we have an experience that's one-on-one where the customization is then you get the stuff you need. And I think that is like the razor blade. So as an entrepreneur, I love that stuff. I think that's smart and cool. And so what we're growing is that, and it does require doing it in person. And then the community piece is because why does anybody care about you if you don't care about them? And so where do you meet them to have these conversations? That's in community. And often those community things are marketing driven and they're things you give away and experiences you create. Sometimes you can monetize them, but a lot of times it's more about like, what can you see my brand in the real world and how it lives and breathes, the people, the ideas. And so, yeah, I think you're right. All the brands are trying to figure out how to do that. And it's not easy to do if you have nothing to talk about. So most
Yeah.
of them have to go get a person with a sound bowl, a tarot reader, add it to their thing so their thing is interesting. And in our case, the thing is our thing. And we call those aura days. And then aura day is like our experience anywhere outside of our store, or it could be in our store where you're having a full experience of what it is to have an aura reading, chakra balancing, experience the products, do some rituals, play with crystals, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect for Asheville, and I know you've got a Miami location too. It's pretty cool to see that growth. And I think you've got, like, when I look at the business model, it's your people have existing. I think people are really looking for answers, especially the more confusing society gets, the faster pace we become. And we can use technology to bring clarity, and we can use technology in a positive way. I'm not so doom and gloom on AI. I think there's
Yeah,
like
me
lots of
neither.
potential.
Yeah.
And so, but we got to use it the right way. And I'm all for using it the right way, so long as it solves problems that people want to have solved. So people come into your place of business, they find out some things like, I found out that I need to make sure I'm managing self-care. And that's valuable to me. And so, and then if I can have someone teach me in a couple minutes something that can help me, you've got a solution for me, and then maybe just coach me on how to take a couple nice breaths and just like, okay, well, shoot, I just and you've done that in all, like, 15, 20 minutes. I just think there's a lot of value to that outside of beyond the purchase of a bottle of essential oil.
Yeah. And so some people come through our customer journey and they don't buy a product, and it's totally fine by us. Often we give them a sample because we want them to still have something. And, maybe they have oils at home. Maybe they don't like oils. Maybe they're just not sure what to get yet. And they're analytical and they want to go back and look on the website. But we want them to have the full experience. And then sometimes people come in and buy a product and they don't do an aura reading. And if they do both, I think they really enjoy the idea of what it is. I don't know if you do yoga, but like if you do yoga and you're doing a pose and you go and take a class, what you get out of the class is the teacher might come over and show you your toes are turning that way and you need to breathe in this way, or your back is arched. And those little tweaks are the difference between like holding the pose in the right way and it really being effective. You can't see yourself, you're doing the thing. And that's what we do with this. We're just showing you in this moment in time what you're doing. We explain it to you, and then you can take that and do what you want with it. But often you could never figure this out on your own because it is data coming from a hand scanner that's pulling in your biometric information and it's translating it into all these graphics and charts. And yeah, a psychic could maybe tell you, I think you're yellow and I think your chakras are balanced, but would you know? And if you went and had Reiki or a healing session and they said, oh, you're blocked. Well, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. Is it true? Do I know? Like, I trust you, right? And there's a lot of trust issues that we have. So I love this method. I think it's really cool. I wish we could do aura readings online and everybody could figure out what their aura and chakras are. And they didn't have to come in the store and put their hand on a scanner. But at the same time, coming in and having that connection is also part of why we call it therapy. Or a therapy is being in relationship to have that conversation is part of the experience.
Tell me more about this aura sanctuary. I find that
Yeah.
really interesting.
So right before the hurricane, which was in September of last year, we had outgrown our space. So we're in Woodfin in a really cool area that has like light industrial buildings where you can set up a small business in there. And we've been there for many years. And right now, we grew out of it. So when we grew out of it, we put a lot of our inventory into storage, and we were at the ghost storage on Riverside. So like many people, when Hurricane Helene hit Asheville, our factory was okay. Our homes were okay. Our store did close because, everything closed and the Grove Arcade closed. But we completely forgot that we had these storage units because everybody was like just figuring it out. And like about 4 days later, when I saw water going past French Broad Chocolate over there on Riverside, I was like, wait, our storage spaces are right there. And then we were like, oh my gosh, I think we must have gotten flooded. And so sure enough, we lost 3 gigantic units with all of our inventory. And so that was really, really challenging. So we were already looking at expanding, and we had found a space we liked, but it was like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Like, is Asheville done? Is Asheville coming back? Should we buy a piece of real estate and fix something up? I had to really go deep and listen in, but in the end, it was a yes. And what happened is we purchased a church in Woodfin that was for sale, and it was no longer a church for many years. And our goal there was to renovate it and turn it into our headquarters, our factory, and then a community space where we could do events and also partner with the community to provide space for other people's events. And so we broke ground about, I'd say 6 weeks ago. And hopefully by next year, sometime early spring, we'll have this Aura Sanctuary, which is our physical incarnation of our brand in a place that we can continue to expand on this community approach and also have better digs for ourselves and then never put anything in storage again. That was traumatic. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, that'll be right in my backyard here. I live up near Weaverville, so be nice
Perfect.
to have. I see
Yeah.
there's a lot of movement up toward this way. I mean, we've got the hospital coming in. What was it? We've got that cinema. I forget the name of it. That was in the River Arts area is moving in up here, I thought. And then so there's a lot of movement northward, I guess.
North,
So,
yeah. And
great.
I live north. So, after commuting for 30 years, New York, New Jersey, and doing that life, I have a 7-minute commute and I love it. And it fits into my lifestyle. And so also I love real estate and decorating and development. So this is a fun project to restore a church and see how to do that. And yeah, we're just super excited about it.
Well, that's really cool. I think the community definitely is supportive of new businesses coming in and fixing things up and making things better. So I think, yeah, great.
Not a
That's
brewery.
yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I know. Even like Weaverville is now like saturated with breweries. It seems like I like them all. By the way, I love our breweries. So nothing saying bad there, but we do have quite a few, I guess.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, what other things for 2025 are you excited about? Any other plans?
Yeah.
What you got
It's
going
been a
on?
big year, because we had to pivot. We did a rebrand when we booted back up in 2025. The rebrand went really, really well. We had to navigate the whole tariff issue, kind of knew it was coming. And so when we lost all our inventory, we repositioned it, did the rebrand. And I have to say, I feel like I got my CEO stripes because I feel like we executed that really well. So we're in a really great position. We're growing wholesale, which was something we didn't really want to do initially. We really wanted to build more retail stores, but we opened the store in Miami and that kicked my butt. Living in Miami half the year, figuring out how to have a second store, that's a big learning curve for our business. Figuring out how to have a team that I'm not always there to work with in Asheville. I got to say they've been spectacular. We kept everybody that we had in Asheville. That was a big commitment I made
Ooh, wonderful.
team stay on board. We did get some grants. Obviously, that doesn't cover all the losses, but we just doubled down on Asheville and we continue to do that. We have a book coming out this fall. So Jim and I, after doing about 6,000 aura readings, we said, should we write a book? And he started writing, and then I started, taking what he was writing and trying to figure out what made sense. We sent it to the printer this week, and I hope to have a book launch next year that we're early fall, to talk about our experience. I think we've almost done 10,000 aura readings, Travis. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
been quite a journey, and we've met a lot of people's energy, and we see what everybody's kind of doing with their energy. And we wanted to share with people the lessons that we learned. I think being an author, CEO might be helpful also for building the platform. So I'm in for all the things. And yeah, 2026, the sanctuary and hopefully more events to bring to Asheville because we'll be more anchoring back into Asheville. And feels like that was a lot in 1 year. So, the vision is just to continue growing and, the big learning here and continues to be, and I think you see that is I envision that in some ways content and being more media driven and content driven is the key that unlocks the engagement and the interest in the brand. So we're going to continue to figure out how to make more content, do more on more platforms, and get
Yeah,
really, really good at it and how to turn that into entertainment. So
that's
that's
awesome.
that's ambitious. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to promote your book and your work. And I know that we're going to have many future collaborations together. I feel like your brand is doing such great things, and I think expanding here in Nashville and just getting the word out even more, I think is definitely what I see in your future. I think it's
And
awesome. So
we're excited about what you're doing because as I've told you, when you're an entrepreneur in Asheville and you go to all the things, there's a lot of tracks in the entrepreneurial community that are around like outdoor stuff and food and beverage and CPG, popcorn and, cookies and chocolate. And there are very few tracks that are for the wellness entrepreneur. And yet Asheville is renowned for being a wellness destination. So I'm hoping that you shine the light on this and that people understand what an incredible community we have here of healers and, all the people. I recently found out that you and my favorite massage therapist, Kimberly, are colleagues and that
yeah,
you know each other. And we are moving into more of that kind of massage and spa space too. So yeah, it's fun. Asheville is small and hopefully, we can all be in community together and anything we can do to help anybody else in the community, we are here for that. We build it together and they will come.
absolutely. Well, my goal is to put Asheville very much on the map as a national destination for healing and wellness, and I've got I've got plans that span beyond 5 years even. So I'm building it slow, brick by brick, and I'm excited for everything to come here.
Super excited.
So now your website's auratherapylife.com, and you've got a discount code, I think, for 15% off. Is that right?
If you sign up on the website, you get into one of those fancy flows where you get discounts. Also, if you go on our Instagram page, Auratherapy Life, pinned at the top, there's a post that says deal, and you'll get other information. And if you really kind of want to go through like what's going on the site, that flow, which is a super cool flow we just implemented, will help you and kind of be like an AI chatbot that's going to walk you through a lot of choices and a lot of things and give you discount codes. So yeah, we hope you come and visit. And if you ever want to visit us here in Asheville, come by the store. I'm not there very much. If you want to reach out to me, you can do that on our socials or on LinkedIn. And I'm always here to have a conversation about all the things. Entrepreneurship, wellness, spirituality, aliens.
Favorite topic, yes.
Crystals. We can go woo woo or just wellness.
I love it. Great. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Laura. I look forward to future collaborations, like I said, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Travis. You too.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us on the Wellness in Asheville podcast, where we explored the transformative power of scent, chakras, and aura healing with the incredible Laura McCann of Auratherapy. And don't forget, get 15% off at auratherapylife.com using the code AVLWellness15. It's the perfect way to experience Laura's blends for yourself, or even grab her book and dive deeper into her mission. For more local wellness gems, head over to bewellavl.com and follow along for fresh episodes every week. Thank you for listening. To learn more about Be Well Asheville, visit bewellavl.com, and don't forget to follow this podcast. You can catch the next episode and bring us along on your way to yoga at Carrier Park or wandering through the Biltmore Estate Gardens. If you loved what you heard, please rate and review the show. Your review helps others discover and grow our wellness community. You can check out Asheville Wellness news, events, and our newsletter at bewellavl.com. Thank you for being the best part of our wellness community, and until next time, be well.